Hi and welcome to our video this week. My name is Cynthia Wakeo, Communication and Events Manager at Corporate Staffing Services. And today we're going to be discussing the difference between a CV and a resume and when you should use what for what job application. I am joined by Evelyn Atieno, who is our CV expert here at Corporate Staffing Services, who is going to be expounding more on this. Thank you for joining me, Evelyn.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Cynthia.
Introduce yourself. Let people know who you are.
Okay, my name is Evelyn Atieno. I'm an expert CV writer here at Corporate Staffing. So normally we review CVs and also we write them to suit particular jobs.
Yes. Yeah. And when we're talking about a CV, a curriculum vitae, and a resume, what's the difference between the two?
Okay. Actually, there's actually a huge difference. Many candidates tend to confuse the two. So you'll see an instance where, like an advert has stated, send your CV, you see a candidate sending a resume. Or they say send a resume, you see a candidate sending a CV. So there's a huge difference. And this actually can be distinguished from two main points. Here we're talking of the length and also the content. So when I'm talking about length, here I'm talking about the number of pages. So a CV normally, there's usually no page limit. It can be 3 pages or it can even extend to even 4 pages or even 5 pages, depending on the experience. So someone with over 10 years of experience or 15 years of experience, they are likely to have done a lot. So their CVs mostly will go to even 5 pages, 6 pages or even 7. But then for a resume, it's usually not that detailed as compared to the CV. So this one normally, it's usually 1 page. In rare cases, it could go up to 2 pages. This again, depending on the experience. Because if the person has more years of experience, they are likely to have a lot. But remember, it has to be brief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 pager and then more.
Yes.
But a CV can't go beyond how many pages
normally,
do you recommend?
They say the standard page is usually 3, but then it can extend.
Depending on the years of experience.
Exactly.
So you've talked about the length of a resume and a CV. What about the content for both?
Thank you. So for the content, so there's usually a huge difference. So you'll see in the CV, you'll focus mostly on the duties followed by accomplishments. But for a resume, you focus mostly on the achievements. So this is in the section of work history. So a resume, remember it's brief, very brief. So it will mostly just be focusing on the milestones a person has achieved. Yeah, then the other bit, normally you focus on the relevant experience. Yeah, or for a resume that is. But then for the CV, you include all experiences. This is inclusive of, let's say you finished campus, then you went for an internship, or even you had other engagements, like you volunteered somewhere. So the CV covers all that as compared to a resume. Because for the resume, it's only the relevant experience that you're including.
By relevant experience, you mean when tailoring to a certain job description, or what do you mean by
exactly, when tailoring to a certain job description.
All right.
Yeah. So they have to be also in line, the most relevant.
Okay.
Don't include work experiences that are not relevant in a resume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to Kenya, the job market, a resume is really common. And when should you use a CV and a resume when applying for jobs in Kenya?
Okay, actually for that, normally, in Kenya, mostly they'll ask for the CV. But if you're applying for a job outside Kenya, they'll ask for a resume. Or maybe it's an international company, they'll ask for a resume. But then again, people shouldn't be in a dilemma when it comes to sending a CV or because you see every advert always comes with instructions. So if the instruction states, send your CV, they'll even indicate sometimes the CV should contain 3 pages or even 4. Resume, they'll also state. The instances they'll say, send a 2-page resume. Yeah. So it will always come with instructions. So no one will ever wonder like, oh, should I send a CV or a, because the instructions are usually there.
Do you, according to the level of where you are at your career, do you think there is a level where you get and a resume is more relevant to you as a professional as opposed to a CV?
Oh, okay, yeah. In your career, mostly when it comes to, let's say, maybe you're someone who is very experienced.
Yeah.
And especially if you're applying for these jobs at the UN, these NGO jobs, normally it will be advisable to use a resume to be on the safe side. But then again, it will always state, you can never go wrong by following the instructions. Yeah, and also, there are times also to be on the safe side, you can even use, there are instances where the HRs use an applicant tracking system. So also, even when you're sending, also for that one, mostly it's preferred to send a resume. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And as we wrap up, how do you ensure that either of the documents really sell you well to an employer? Because that's the first document an employer sees or rather meets you. That's how they meet you.
Okay.
So how do you ensure it sells you?
Okay, so there are many ways, but I'm going to focus on the main ones. So number one, whenever you're sending, be it a CV or a resume, make sure it's tailored towards that advert. So every time, remember, there are different applications that will be coming. So you won't just be sending the same CV, the same resume. It has to be tweaked towards that particular advert, because different adverts come with different specifications. So every time you'll always go back, look into what they're looking for. So everything that you're writing in that CV or resume should correlate with what they're looking for in the advert.
Yeah.
That's number one, tailoring your CV. Number two, it involves things to do with people need to avoid the use of grammar. I mean, grammatical errors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you see, when you send a CV that has a lot of grammatical errors, this creates an impression to a recruiter. So this recruiter will be like, this person is actually not keen to detail. And that's usually very crucial when it comes to recruitment of staff. So if they see you've just sent a CV, they'll easily know this CV was done in a hurry, because this person didn't even counter check. So it's always very important to counter check your CV or your resume before sending it. Yeah. The other bit also is avoid the use of jargon. Now, this is normally when it comes to writing a CV or a resume, it's not a writing competition where you use complex words. No.
Yeah.
Most of the time, just simple language. Something that is straightforward, that even when a recruiter is looking at it, they're able to pick out what you're targeting that is in line with the advert. So no use of jargon, just simple language.
Yeah.
The other thing, it comes to formatting. Now, formatting matters a lot, because this is also in terms of presentation. So it needs to be well formatted. It also needs to be presentable and organized. Also, again, I talked also about the ATS. So here also in this, when you've sent a CV and then it's passed through an ATS system, there are certain formats that will not be able to pick. Yeah. So normally, if you use tables, it won't be able to pick. The system won't be able to pick that bit. So it's usually important to use maybe even just plain text, but also it should be well organized. Yeah, so formatting also is usually very key.
Yeah.
So both CV and resume, there are three key things that they always look at. So skills, experience, and accomplishments. So when you talk about skills here, the skills this person has have to be in line with what they're looking for. So if this is an accounting profession, probably the skills they'll be looking for are things like financial reporting, maybe accounts payables and receivables, budgeting, things to do with that. So they also have to be in line with that advert. The same goes for the work experience. So the roles this person will be highlighting, these are roles that need to market this person better in line with the advert. So this person is not supposed to deviate from what they're looking for. So also that one has to be in line with the advert. Accomplishments are usually very key in both CV and the resume. Because you see, Cynthia, if you've worked for over 10 years or even over 5 years, chances are there are instances where you achieved milestones throughout your career. So this also needs to be stated so that they get to see you are a person, if you are given a role, you get to do over and above what is expected of you, which is what recruiters usually look for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are actually the main crucial bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually really learned a lot from you today.
Nice.
There are things I think we talk about, but there are things also people overlook,
True.
which are very important, especially when you're trying to stand out of
the
a large job market, competing for one position. So that's very good advice. Yeah. Thank you so much for making time to come here. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
We hope to see you more though.
Don't worry, you'll be seeing me.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching the video. You've had some of the tips from our CV experts here at Corporate Staffing Services. We hope that these tips will help you improve on your CV writing skills. And if you're not comfortable or not sure about how to go about your CV, we have a CV expert here with us, and we will leave details on the link below where you can see what we offer and sign up, and she will contact you for the next steps. We'll see you in the next video.